The chestnut praline latte is top 2 and it's not 2. Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, and I've just got to say I am a sucker for a menu challenge. Order 3 lattes by 11 a.m. for 90 stars. I'm there. Okay, I love a good competition. I can't turn one down, so that is why I am drinking the chestnut praline, which is a fantastic beverage. Let's talk about college football, Week 11. I only have 3 games for you this week, smaller slate. Let's dive in. We start with big noon kickoff. Michigan visits Penn State, and Michigan finally faces an opponent that's worth talking about. Their schedule has been so easy, I am not sure what to expect. Michigan has faced no competition this season whatsoever. So I think they come into this game slightly overrated due to the fact that I have not seen them match up with a real college football team. Michigan likes to rely on the run. They like to get Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards 200 rushing yards, carry it into the locker room, and celebrate, right? And I don't think they're going to be able to do that this weekend against Penn State, which has the second best rush defense in college football. So if Michigan wants to win this game, I think it's through J.J. McCarthy and through the air, and I don't know if they'll find success there either. That is really what this boils down to. Michigan has not had to prove that they can win through the air, and I think in this game they will have to prove they can win through the air, and I am not sure they can do that. So I like Penn State +4 as the side, and I like the over 45.5 just because I think two teams that like to run are dictating where this line is being set, which is fairly low. But I think we see a transition. I think both teams somewhat struggle to run, and so I think we see more points than is expected because quarterbacks are working. Now, their defense of Penn State has allowed some passing yards late in games, and I think that's just because games were out of reach, so I think that's slightly inflated. However, I do think J.J. McCarthy may be able to find success in some short and intermediate routes on this defense. But Penn State, played Ohio State well. I don't think Michigan has a player like Marvin Harrison Jr., so my radar is up. Also, the sign stealing controversy is a big deal. These people have had to deal with that drama, and some players I'm sure are using it as motivation, saying it doesn't matter all those allegations, we can still play football, while others are maybe taking it a little differently. So it's just a lot of noise over there. I think the pressure mounts in this game for them because they are finally playing someone worthwhile, because they've had all these allegations. It's just Penn State can come in and play free and play with a little bit of chip on their shoulder after last year's game where Michigan came in and dominated. So I just think Penn State +4.5 is the side with value, and although it is a low confidence bet, I do think we get both teams over 24 points, and so therefore I like the over. If you are just a fan of the sport of football, I would tune in to the Tennessee-Missouri game, a game that I think will feature a lot of points, a lot of back and forth. So that is why I'm on the over 58.5, although it is low confidence as well. And I do like Missouri +1.5 as my Green Beans Go extra most bestest pick of the week. Tennessee has a loss at Florida and at Alabama. They have beat Kentucky and they have beat A&M, but only by a touchdown. I think this Tennessee team likes to control games on the ground, run the ball, and try to play good defense, which we've seen struggle at times. I don't believe that their quarterback, Joe Milton, is built for a shootout, and I think Missouri is comfortable and almost wants to play this game in a shootout. Tennessee also has a look ahead next week to Georgia. So I just think it's kind of a perfect storm. They come off a really soft opponent in UConn. They have Georgia next week, which is a huge conference game. And right here in the middle, we have a high-powered, explosive offense of Missouri, who I think is at a perfect, comfortable spot in the season. So I just think it's a bad overall matchup for the Volunteers. As for Missouri, they played Georgia last week. They lost by 9, but they did score 21 points, and you may be saying, so what? I think that's a confidence builder. Going into Georgia and putting up 21 points on Georgia's defense is a difficult task. And I think at home versus Tennessee, it is much easier. We saw this team put up almost 40 on LSU. Now, LSU won that game because they were able to score 50, and I don't believe Tennessee can score anywhere near 50, so I don't think that's a problem this team has to worry about. Missouri's defense is okay. It's not great, but I don't think it has to be, like I've been saying. And this ultimately in Missouri is a team that believes in itself, believes it can win games. So I am optimistic that the Tigers can take this game at home outright. I like them on the money line, but I will take them at the spread of +1.5 in a high-scoring game where Tennessee just cannot keep pace. The last game I want to talk about this week is Utah visiting Washington, and I feel so tremendously good about this over 51.5. I believe this is just wrong. I think this number is based on maybe a holistic view of the season and not where these two teams sit at the moment. Since Utah's leading tackler, starting linebacker, has gone down with an injury, this defense has given up over 30 points in 2 out of the 3 games it's played. Now, this offense of Utah is also finding rhythm. I think Cam Rising being declared out for the year helped their quarterback say, you know what, I'm the guy, okay, and play with a little bit more confidence. Utah also is significantly worse on the road. This game is being played in Washington, and when you look at their splits, home versus away, it's one of the most drastic splits in college football. Utah's defense just simply plays better, backed by that crowd noise, backed by that home field advantage in Utah, and they play significantly worse when they have to travel, and they're traveling this week to Washington. However, I do think Washington's defense is so bad that that +9.5 is a good value spot as well for Utah to keep it close. But again, I'm going to stress that over 51.5, I think, is a prime spot for great value because Washington, okay, defense that has given up 75 points in the last 2 games. And I just believe that if Oregon and USC can score over 30 on Utah, Washington should have no problem doing the same, especially since this game is being played in Washington. I also think Washington is comfortable with a shootout. Most of their games are played in shootout fashion, so they know they have to put up points, and I think they will put up points, and I don't see Utah struggling to keep pace. So I think this is a game played with both teams in the 30s, potentially Washington reaching into the 40s. It wouldn't shock me at all. So again, 51.5 is too low. That is an absolute smash. And if I had to pick a side, it would be Utah +9.5. I do think they are able to keep pace with this poor Washington defense. 3 games is all we need. Again, if you like the content, I do this exact thing for NFL. That video is already out. So if you're catching this video, you say, I like how this guy sets up his little spreadsheet and how he says stuff that sounds like he knows what he's talking about. I do the exact same thing for NFL. So go check that video out. It's on my channel. Like and subscribe and kiss your mom on the cheek. We'll see you next time.